Hey everybody, in today's video, following up from the Masters, we're going to take a look at Tiger's swing. It's new and improved. Not that new, I guess, from the last couple years, but from where it was, maybe a decade ago. It is different, and I also think it's a swing that people can start to copy now because he has physical limitations, and like a lot of us, myself included, we do have to take that into account when we are going through our golf swing. So let's get into it. All right, let's do this. Let's go over Tiger's swing here. So I think a couple of things. First off, again, I've mentioned it. Very, very incredible that Tiger has made a return this quick from compound fractures in your leg. They're very easy to, say, hey, this is it, and I'm not going to be able to do this. So really, really interesting that he's been able to do this. Couple of things that we have to keep in mind, and this is why I want to do this. I think Tiger's swing is actually a good swing to look at now because he has some physical limitations. That's going to be 99% of the players that I work with, myself included. We have physical limitations that we have to work our swing around. If Tiger was to try to swing like the guy he played with the first 2 days, Jacqueline Niemann, that's not going to work. That's not going to work because A, his back, and then two, now his leg is getting where it is. He has to make sure he accommodates that leg. So we're watching him here on the 8th hole, and this is, obviously an uphill par 5. This was a hole going in. Typically, he's played this hole well, but it was a hole I would worry about because Tiger's, right leg is having issues. Or, again, not issues, it's just recovering, right? And so he's going to be hitting up a very, very, very big hill on this second shot. So that would be something I would be concerned about when you're trying to push off that trail leg going up a hill. So just something that I kind of was thinking as we were going through the round. I did notice this is when he started limping more and stuff like that. So not sure, again, if that has any correlation. But let's take a look through the swing as he goes. So first off, let's address his setup now. So one, he is going to have a more relaxed setup. He's not going to have that super straight back, almost like an S curve in his spine. He's not going to be having that anymore. You're going to see more rounded shoulders. Again, I think that's something that can be beneficial to people, getting in a more relaxed position at address. But the big thing is making sure you have the ability to have some space between your arms and your body. Okay, Tiger has plenty of that because that's going to be becoming very, very important as we go through his swing. Okay, so that's going to be the first thing we're looking at as we go through. The other thing is just making sure he's bending. He's definitely a little bit taller. He's not bending over as much, but he also looks like he has a little bit more knee flex as he's going in. That's going to help him lower down to the golf ball while still being able to bend forward a little bit. But he's just kind of getting into a more neutral position as opposed to, that typical golfer position. I think of like Adam Scott or, even like Jacqueline Niemann, where they're going to bend a lot over the golf ball. They have a ton of room, but you're going to need to rotate and you're going to have to contort your back a little bit as you go. And obviously Tiger's not able to do that right now. So let's start watching him go as he goes through. So we're going to take him through. Takeaway for Tiger has always been something he is awesome at. And something that I think people can work with in their own games. Okay, so when I look at Tiger's takeaway, you can notice here that Tiger does not use a lot of wrists early in his takeaway. You can tell because look at the angles between his arms and how the club is still pointing straight through those arms as he's going. You can also see the shirt buttons moving as he's taking this club back. This is one of the biggest things that I think people don't do throughout their swing is they don't use their upper body to bring the club back. Again, myself included. You have to use your torso to start bringing the club back, and that's going to get the club going back in a good way. Now, from here, what we'll notice is as we keep going, Tiger is going to start lifting his arms up. Okay, he's not necessarily hinging his wrist. Tiger's not going to hinge his wrists a ton. He's always had that philosophy of being very wide in his golf swing, very wide, kind of keep the club out as wide as you can. But what he's doing here is, as he continues to turn his torso, he's lifting his arms up to the top. Okay, another big mistake that I see people do, and I see this is kind of something that, you know, modern instruction almost kind of wants, is people try to get this club where this left arm is lower across their chest. And what ends up happening is you get the club, your arm pinned to your chest. So you can see Tiger's got right here his arm touching his chest, but you can see he has freedom in his arms right here. His arms are off of his body, except for that one little part near his left armpit. That's huge, because what it's going to let him do is lower his arms, which in turn gets the club looking more shallow. He wants to go up and down with his arms, which is what most people need to be doing in their swing. You turn the club back, you don't pull the club back with your arms. Now, as he goes through here, he's going to have a couple of things that I like, but one of the things that I think happened to Tiger as he was working through his game was he did struggle for a while. He went through a period where he was definitely getting that club lower. That's going to make your body have to do some kind of heavy rotation, and he was going into like a back extension phase. This would have been in the early 2010s, and you know, it's not a coincidence to me that he started having his back issues around then as he was going through this. So now he's got more, and this is where Chris Como came in, and I think Chris Como did a very good job advising him, starting to get him to get his arms more free, get freedom in those arms, have the arms work up, don't pin them to your body. It causes a lot of problems. Main one's going to be over the top for a lot of people, but if you're a good player, you start contorting your body to try to keep that club inside, and it doesn't work out very well. So from here, we're going to take them through. You can see, again, those arms, they just work down. And one of the biggest things that Tigers does here is he actually keeps his arms wide. Again, look at how wide he's keeping everything down into the ball. Now, this is a position that everybody tries to get to. They try to fake this position. This is a position that is absolutely created as we go through the swing. It's created as we go through. I'm going to play it through in the change of direction at the top, okay? Because you're swinging back with the momentum and the club has got to slow down and then change directions, people will think, okay, hey, look at how he's lagging the club, and I'm going to bring it in and I'm going to lead everything with my hands and everything. That's not what's happening. What's happening is Tiger's going back and he's keeping that club wide, and because his body is shifting weight, it's starting to unwind. Although one of the hallmarks, I think, of this particular swing is look at how closed his shoulders still are. This is something I think people need to be looking at a lot more in their swing. His shoulders have not opened up yet, and they won't until he's pretty much after he's hit the ball or right at impact. He'll start getting a little bit more of an open read into his shoulders. But a lot of people start trying to open their shoulders a lot, and it just doesn't actually work that way. It's all reactions to, hey, I'm going to bring it back. I'm going to keep the club wide. I'm going to change directions and get it back out wide on the way down. That's what you have to do. You can't have it be wide on the way back, be wide at setup, come up, and then get narrow with it, because you're not going to hit the ball. You're in a bad spot where you're going to be trying to get back to wide on the way, right around the golf ball, and that's where a lot of people get their inconsistencies. So that's just one of the things I would look at with Tiger's swing as he goes through. The hallmark of feeling wide is always been something he's done. And then we go through, again, for him, you can see he's going to have his body turning through the shot. Now, this is one thing that, again, people, even in golf instruction, I think get this a little bit mixed up. They will say, hey, look at how open his shoulders are. Well, it's actually not how open his shoulders are, in terms of turning towards the target. What's actually happening is he's tilting his shoulders. His right shoulder is pointed down towards the ball as he's hitting this. Now, he is trying to hit a fade here. He was trying to hit fades all week. This is actually a very good one. So he is going to get a little bit more open than normal. If you're somebody that slices, you won't want to get open. You know, this is a fade swing. You're going to hit the ball to the right if you're a right-handed player. So he is trying to do that. The other thing, though, is you're going to see him work his body up as you go through, and he's going to work his body into a very, very tall position. So this idea that we're going to be keeping our head down, things like that, that's not happening at all in the swing. That's never happening. We're going to go over his short game motion here in another video, and you'll see you never are keeping your head down. But he's trying to work himself up, and this is going to be partially because of the back and the leg. You don't want to have any undue pressure, so he's trying to get onto his left side, get off of that right leg as much as he can. And also, he wants to be standing as straight as possible at the finish. No bending backwards, because that's called spine extension. That is what his lower lumbar spine, that's where he's had issues, right? That's where you do not want that. And that's something he used to try to do. He was informed to do that, thought he could get some power out of it. He did hit it pretty far doing it, but it started really, messing with his back and stuff like that. And that's just stuff I've seen a lot of late. So I'm kind of curious how the longevity of certain players go as we're going through this. But Tiger swing looks really good. You can see it's just a lot of arms now, a lot of arm focus, keeping with the arms, raising them up and down, and just making sure his body stays in control where he's not putting himself into any super uncomfortable positions. Basics of, hey, we're going to shift our weight back and forward, but really just timing out those arms. That's all he has, and that's what a lot of people, I think, need to be doing anyway. You could see you could still hit the ball very, very far. He was hitting it over 300 at times. You can hit the ball a very, very long way with your arms and using your body very efficiently, as opposed to trying to just throw everything at it. So really, really good stuff from Tiger. I'm glad he's back. I'm glad the swing looks like it's working well. Hopefully his leg is feeling better from the walking and everything. I think his swing's on a good place where it's going to help him. But again, we're just hoping that the guy gets to play a little bit more. I don't even care if he wins. I just like to see him play golf. It's just so much more fun when he plays and he's around. So we're hoping, and we're going to wish him the best as he keeps going. So there's a look at Tiger's swing. Again, the key takeaways I have from it are, hey, we need to get our arms having some freedom up and down with those arms. You remember our videos with Rick Silva? He was talking a lot about that as well, how we need to get our arms lifting the golf club up and down more. So that was something he was having me doing, and that's something Tiger's doing very well. It's amazing how if you keep the club wide as you go back, get your arms to lift while keeping it wide, and then lower, keeping them wide, how your body with just a little bit of weight shift will really start to kind of react and do a lot of things that you want it to do in your swing. This is one of the first things I always work on with players, and we see what we get from there before we start working on body motions and things like that. And usually we can get a really, really long way without having to, that's always my goal. How many things can we get done with just one thought in our swing? So we have as least amount of things to think about as possible throughout a golf swing. So if you have any questions about it, comments, any of your thoughts about his swing, I would love to hear them. Please leave comments down below. And as always, click that subscribe button. We're going to have more with short game and talking about Tiger's motion and just some more thoughts from the Masters and getting ready to get outside. There's some great stuff you can take away from that tournament. So make sure you do not miss out on that. Click that subscribe button, and we'll see you in the next video. Peace.